Hello and welcome to this episode of the Toronto Maple Leafs Be a GM. So this episode will go over the end of the regular season with our award ceremony and the final point totals of the regular season. So without further ado, we're going to get into this now. So starting off, we have players 19 through 15. Colton Orr had 81 games, 0 goals and 6 assists. Troy Bodie, who came in for people who were injured, had 35 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. Fraser McLaren, 82 games, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. Gleason, a solid defensive defenseman, 82 games, 2 goals, 15 assists. And Mason Raymond, who got injured, had a lackluster year with 5 goals, 14 assists. 14 through 10 looks like this. Gunnarsson, 76 games played, 12 goals, 8 assists. Kuhlman, 5th in the team with 15 goals, had 6 assists as well. Morgan Riley and Jay McClement were tied with 22 points. And Dave Bolland was tied with Jake Gardiner for 9 points for 9th with 26 points. Bolland didn't rack up a whole lot of goals but had 17 assists. McClement did well on the 4th line. Now 9 through 5, Gardiner, as mentioned before, tied for 9th, 26 points. David Clarkson only played 52 games but had 13 goals, 14 assists for 27 points. That's pretty good in 52 games compared to the rest of the team. Phaneuf, 82 games, 4 goals, 25 assists. Franzen, just 1 point better, 1 more goal. And Joffrey Lupul, 81 games, 16 goals, 23 assists for 39 points. Kadri had a very good year with 47 points. Bozak, 19 goals, 30 assists for 49 points. I was hoping for some more goals. We only had 2 players with 20 or plus goals. Van Riemsdyk, 24 goals, 29 assists, and then Phil Kessel, by far the best, with 34 goals, 47 assists for 81 points. I was hoping for a lot more depth scoring, and we'll be looking for that in the offseason. And finally, the goalies. Drew McIntyre was called up for 1 game when Jonathan Bernier was injured in that last little streak at the end. So he played 1 game, and he won that game, only allowing 1 goal. James Reimer had a very bad year, 22 starts, only 9 wins, a .304 goals against average. And Jonathan Bernier, by far a great season, 33 wins, 2.31 goals against average, and a .923 save percentage. So now getting into the awards. The first award is the Rick Vive Award. This award goes to the player with the most goals, and the nominees are Phil Kessel, Tyler Bozak, and James Van Riemsdyk. And if you're paying attention just now, you will know who wins this. And the winner is Phil Kessel with 34 goals. The runners-up were James Van Riemsdyk with 24 goals and Tyler Bozak with 19. I will reiterate that we need more depth scoring, and we'll be going after that when free agency comes. Next up, we got another point award. This one is the Matt Sundin Award. This award goes to the player with the with the most amount of points. And again, the nominees are the exact same as the last one. James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Bozak, and Phil Kessel, And the winner is Phil Kessel again with 81 points. Phenomenal season, matching his jersey number, ironically. But James Van Riemsdyk, finished the season with 53 points, and Tyler Bozak finished with 49 points. The exact same order as the Rick Vive Award. Next is the Boreas Salming Award, and this award goes to the player with the highest plus-minus. Now, the nominees for this are Tyler Bozak, Mason Raymond, and James Van Riemsdyk. So, you guys don't know who the winner of this is going to be, so it's going to be a bit more interesting. So, the winner is Tyler Bozak with a plus 13. The runners-up were James Van Riemsdyk in second with a plus 12, and Mason Raymond rounding it out with a plus 11. Now this one goes out to all the enforcers. This is the Ty Domi Award, who goes to the player with the most penalty in minutes. So the nominees are Tim Gleason, Fraser McLaren, and Colton Orr. So place your bets, because this one was really close. So the winner is Fraser McLaren with 109 penalty in minutes. Second was Colton Orr with 108. So Colton Orr just missed out the tie by 1 penalty in minute, and Gleason rounds it off with 102 penalty in minutes. Now this one is the opposite of the last one. This one is the Frank J. Selke Award, which goes to the player with the lowest penalty in minutes, with a minimum of 60 games played. So, the nominees are Mason Raymond, Morgan Riley, and Nikolai Kulemin. The winner is Mason Raymond, with 0 penalty in minutes in 61 games. Now that deserves a round of applause. Only 0, none. Second was Nikolai Kulemin with 6 through 80 games, and Morgan Riley with 10 through 80 as well. Now this one is a bit more about judgment, but it's not that hard. This one is the Turk Brodo Award, which goes to the best goaltender in the organization. So the nominees are the 3 goalies who played in the NHL this year: Jonathan Bernier, Drew McIntyre, and James Reimer. And it's pretty obvious who wins this one, but the winner is Jonathan Bernier. Now this one, he blew the goalies out of the ballpark. 33 wins, as previously mentioned. Blew James Reimer out of the water. Completely earned his starting role. And so now we'll move on. Next is the Sil Apps Award, which is awarded to the best rookie. Now this one is pretty obvious as well, as only one of the 3 nominees was on the NHL team the entire year, and that's Morgan Riley. But will there be an underdog, and who will win? The winner is Morgan Riley. Now this one was pretty obvious, so we'll just skip the description and move on to the next award. Next is the Tim Horton Award, awarded to the best defenseman. Now excuse the editorial error, it's showing Matt Sundin for right now, but the nominees are Dion Phaneuf, Cody Franzen, and Carl Gunnarsson. So this one may surprise a few, but the winner is Cody Franzen. Yes, Cody Franzen. He scored the most points as a defenseman, just barely beating out Dion Phaneuf, and I felt that overall he was a better defenseman than Dion Phaneuf, who would have otherwise won. Carl Gunnarsson was also good defensively, but he was just as good as Cody Franzen and Dion, but didn't put up the points. And lastly, the Doug Gilmour Award, the big daddy of all the awards. This award goes to the team MVP. Now the nominees are Jonathan Bernier, Phil Kessel, and James Van Riemsdyk. So, the winner is Phil the Thrill Kessel. That's right, Phil Kessel is your team MVP for the 2013-2014 regular season. So now that all the awards are done with, we are going to move on to who we are facing in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Now as you see here, this is the bracket for this year's 2013-2014 Stanley Cup Playoffs. We are the team that is highlighted in blue, and we are versing the New York Rangers in round 1. That is right. The number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, losing out by 1 point to the Florida Panthers, I know, shockingly enough, but now I'm just going to quickly go over through all the matchups. So it's Florida, number 1 seed, versus Montreal. Detroit versus Tampa Bay. New York Rangers versus us, the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and that rounds out the East. In the West, we have the Los Angeles Kings versus the Colorado Avalanche. The Edmonton Oilers versus the San Jose Sharks. The Chicago Blackhawks versus the St. Louis Blues, just like in real life. And lastly, the Winnipeg Jets versus the Nashville Predators. So I'll leave you with that, and I'd like to thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Goodbye.